working tomorrow, so getting your weekend in now.
Yes.
And you told me
I can have one beer.
Yeah, you told me stouts and IPAs are gross, which I agree with half of that. I think IPAs are gross. So how would you define the sort of beer that you enjoy? Because I feel like it's more
I don't know. The
more
trying
like
to read here.
more like German style, like kind of a blonde or a
Yes.
Hefeweizen or just like
Yes,
good.
but not like your kind of beer.
No,
Not like
not
the Coronas or the
not like Budweiser, not like yeah. I know what you mean. It's sort of the classic European beer.
yes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you call it lager?
Lager, yes, that's the word. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Lager.
You enjoy a good lager, not this
Yes.
craft beer, super dark, aged in bourbon barrels type beer.
No. So what are you having? Tea.
Coffee. This is coffee. We always know the podcast is better when I'm on coffee. So I do coffee on podcast.
Have we tried it ever when you're on wine or beer?
We haven't, because it's always like 10 or 11 in the morning, but
Okay,
I'm sure we will.
O'clock.
We should just probably do one of these like live, like at 4 a.m. during like a UFC, and then I'll be drinking. And
Great. You'll be all over the place,
Mhm.
Harry.
Yeah, which wouldn't be that different. So I don't know if we'd learn much from that experiment.
It would, though. You're so composed.
So composed.
Yes, You're so composed.
It's almost like this is my native language.
Almost.
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 Except I'm bad at it.
Oh, so starting off today, April 2021, Sweden.
Yes. Episode 63, here to talk about Margret's gambling problems. 1-800-BETS-OFF. If you have a problem, just call this hotline. It probably doesn't work in Sweden, but we've been talking a lot about making funny bets and parlays, and you've been a terrible influence on me, because now I hit up my buddy. I'm like, hey, how about this 11 fight parlay? Let's do that.
How about this soccer?
Yeah.
This soccer match.
We'll throw in these soccer matches too. It's 20-1. It's great. I only have to win one time out of 20.
European soccer.
Yeah. Which means I'll just do it over and over and over. But
yeah. But you tell me you're not betting loads amounts of money.
No, like $5-10.
$5-10. Are you lying?
Every single day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
But
so do you have any parlays for this weekend? Yes, you do.
Oh, yes. But they're like stretched out over the month, because I don't know how you're feeling about MMA, but I'm pretty excited because we had UFC through most of last year, but we haven't had, and granted, like I mostly watch UFC, but we haven't had One, we haven't had Bellator, we haven't had PFL. Like all that stuff has been gone. And now that it's back, I feel like I have a new appreciation. Like all of a sudden I want to watch it. And not only that, but there's way more for UFC fans, recognizable UFC guys in these other organizations now. And so there's a bunch of matchups this coming month. Today, actually, Eddie Alvarez is fighting. Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse is fighting. So if you're a UFC fan, there are a lot of big names fighting over the next month or so. Early in May, you've got Yoel Romero and Anthony Johnson, which is a clash of titans, but tons of names. Corey Anderson is fighting in April. There's a big list. So it's a pretty exciting time to be not only a UFC fan, but an MMA fan as well. It's pretty cool. And yes, with all those fighters, I'm making ridiculous parlays. So that's fun too.
That's great.
Yeah.
But by the way, look at you with your professional background.
Yeah, might actually
How great is this?
Might have to start posting video now, because I've got Bruce Lee with his abs, got a little Bruce Lee standee that I got from a movie theater in the background, courtesy of my brother. And then on eBay, I got all these classic UFC posters. So UFC, what is this? I don't even know. They used to, I don't know that either.
It's December 22 at least.
Yeah. All I know is the matchups, the headline matchups are Rashad Evans versus Forrest Griffin, Rampage Jackson versus Wanderlei Silva, the axe murderer, and one of the Nogueira brothers against Frank Mir. You know what's funny is not only they look alike, the Nogueira brothers, if you ever look at them, like they look exactly the same. So, and then they have the same nicknames too. It's like Big Nog, Little Nog. It's like, I don't know who's big or who's little. Like they both look huge to me. So,
Yeah.
And then on this smaller poster, I've got Crow Cop versus Frank Mir, and and then Ryan Bader against, again, a Nogueira brother. So I've got a little too much Frank Mir and a little too much Nogueira in these, but I bought a lot of like 9 UFC posters, classic ones off eBay, real ones.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's fun.
Actually, I knew that this professional background is going to be there today because you told me.
Yeah, I was excited.
So I just had to put this T-shirt on. The
What
listeners can't see it, but
you got to stand up. Oh, Funky Ben, boom, roasted. So we got Ben Askren with a ridiculous. I don't even know if that's not his real hair. That's a fake afro.
No, it is not.
That's his real hair?
Yes.
That seems too curly. I mean, I know he's got really.
It's from his wrestling days.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I forgot about his wrestling days.
So I instead of a background, I have this dope T-shirt on. But
that's amazing.
The funny thing about that is, for you to see it, I just have to stand up the entire.
Yes,
episode.
Just do that the entire podcast.
You can look at this. You can look at Ben Askren instead of looking at my face, right? It's better, way better.
Oh, it's so funny. I forgot how amazing his hair was in his wrestling days.
It was
really good.
How can a white guy even grow that kind of an afro?
I've met a couple other white guys who had afros like that. And yeah, you wonder. I don't know. It doesn't look like there are not many guys like. Actually, I have cousins who have super, super curly hair. They've never grown it long though. But I bet you.
So maybe you have the curly gene.
I think so. I mean, it might be from.
Just try grow an afro.
No, I definitely have zero curly hair.
A straight afro, or you go to the hairdresser and they what do you call it? A perm?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my mom used to have rocking the perm all through the 90s. It was amazing.
Great.
Yeah. But
sorry.
Well, it's just funny because like those cousins, it's the 2 oldest boys have the super curly hair, but then there's 5 kids, and the 3 younger ones have straight hair. So I have no idea what's going on there genetically. But yeah, every once in a while you get these funky anomalies, guys who can grow afros like Ben Askren. It's fun. But it's like if you don't ever grow it out, you're wasting it.
It is fun. Imagine Ben Askren without the curly hair.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fun.
He couldn't be funky. He'd have to be something else.
Without the curly hair and the flip-flops.
Yeah. He'd have to be...
He wouldn't be a star.
No, he'd just be like a spaghetti man or something. I don't know.
With the dad bod.
If he was Italian. Yes, Ben Dad Bod Askren. I mean, he was dad bod back in like his mid-20s. He was always dad bod.
Some guys are like that though.
Yeah.
Or mom bod or dad bod.
Still a good fighter. I mean, how are we feeling about Ben Askren versus Jake Paul at this point? Because the odds have sort of evened out. Like, Jake Paul used to be a big favorite, and now I think it's pretty much even Steven. Does that seem reasonable? Yeah.
God, I don't know. I mean, because couldn't say. I'm not betting on that one. Are you?
So I made a parlay yesterday where I bet on Askren, but then I also had some basketball games on there, and the basketball games were yesterday, and I lost, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I would throw it in a funny parlay because
I don't know. I have a strong feeling that Jake Paul is going to win that one, but I hope not. Hope I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Jake Paul is, I think, probably a lot quicker. He's taller, got a longer reach. Could we say that he has more boxing training? I don't know, because like Ben Askren has way more. We don't know. I mean, we know that obviously Ben Askren has way more combat sports training and way more fights and fights against way, way, way higher competition. But we don't know about boxing, really. Yeah. So,
well, are you going to watch it?
I actually want to watch it, but I don't know if I will. Depends how
I'm
easy.
watching it. I'm
Depends how
watching it.
easy it is to watch. Yeah.
I think it's like 2 in the morning or 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm up anyway.
Yeah. No sleep.
No sleep on the weekends in the
Yeah.
Nilsson house.
There've been a
So
lot. Mm-hmm.
where are we in this? We don't have an event to recap.
No event to recap, but we do have one coming up, so we could just go
We
straight to
do.
that.
We
Yeah.
do.
And there's been a lot of, I guess you could say, drama. I mean, just the main event falling apart and then now coming back together. We have Marvin Spaghetti Man Vittori versus Kevin Holland's Trailblazer or Big Mouth. We'll see who shows up.
Yes.
But it was supposed to be Darren Till against Marvin Vettori, and that was a number one contender fight. Whoever won that, everyone assumed that they would then challenge Israel Adesanya, and Adesanya was pretty vocal about the fact that he wanted to fight Till. He wanted Till to win this fight, and then Till had to drop out because of an injury. But some people like myself were excited about the prospect of Vittori possibly winning this fight because aside from the Kelvin Gastelum fight, he was the hardest matchup for Adesanya to date. So either way, it would have been interesting. And now I think the question is that it's Kevin Holland versus Marvin Vittori. Kevin Holland just had a bad performance and lost, but he's still 5-1 in his last 6 fights. Do you think this is still a top contender fight?
God, I don't know. It's hard. Kevin Holland is now number 10 in the middleweight rankings. But no, I don't think so. But I mean, if Holland can somehow win this one, it would be more than great for him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to bounce back from the last, I don't know if you can say fiasco, but nearly.
Yeah, it wasn't just that he lost his last fight, it was the way he lost. It was the fact that he didn't look like he was there to fight, and he was never really competitive in the fight, except for, when they were standing, he landed a few good punches, but he had no control in the fight. He just kept getting taken down and held down.
Yeah.
And it subsequently came out after the fight that Kevin Holland apparently doesn't really train wrestling, and that just doesn't really work very well once you're in the top 10. So it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts. Could be called Marvin Vettori Spaghetti Man. Doesn't think that Kevin Holland's lack of wrestling ability will be a problem in this fight against Vettori. So we'll see. I think if Kevin Holland wins, that'll put him maybe a couple fights away from a title shot. He expressed some interest in rematching that last loss, if he beats Vettori. So I don't know if that would be interesting though.
Nah, maybe not. But do you think this one will come down to like cardio? Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, this seems like, you remember the Jack Hermanson Marvin Vettori fight, and that was a war. That was a slugfest, and I could see this being similar. The thing about Vettori is he has such a hard head, such a good chin. So, I mean, I think Kevin Holland can knock a lot of guys out. Can he knock Vettori out? I don't know, but I think that's.
But on the other hand, though, Vittori's got good boxing skills and throws a strong left hand, but he isn't known for his finishing ability, right?
Also true. Yeah. So I guess the question is, if this goes to decision, who do you see winning?
God, I want to say Holland here, but I would say Marvin Vittori.
Yeah.
Because I know he doesn't have a single knockout win across 9 UFC fights,
Right.
And 7 of his last 8 bouts have gone the distance. So maybe if it goes to a decision, Marvin Vittori. So that'll be my pick, actually.
Yeah. Didn't you make a prop bet that was Vittori by TKO or KO? We don't have to talk about it.
I did. Actually, by TKO.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I kind of regret that one now.
it could happen.
Too late.
As of this moment, though, I think we'd both agree that if it goes to decision, probably Vittori. If there's a finish, probably Holland.
Yeah,
Probably.
but I want Vittori to win by TKO though. Actually, I don't want him to, but
Right.
for
You,
my parlay,
yeah, you're
But
not.
my heart is with Kevin Holland in this one.
Yes, you're not a big Vittori fan. He did
I'm
beat.
such a traitor, always,
Yeah,
always.
it works out for you though. Generally.
It yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does. I know. So we started off with the main event.
Mhm.
We
Right.
did it. We did it the opposite way.
Right.
We usually we usually end with the main event, but okay then. Okay. So we're gonna do the co-main, or we're gonna look at the prelims. You decide.
Yeah, let's talk about Arnold Allen and Sadiq Yusuf.
Yes. Let's. Arnold Allen is the number 110. Number 110.
Mhm.
Okay, 110 ranked. God, I don't know. Let me just go finish my beer and I'll come back.
Just
He is the
shotgun
number
it real
10
quick.
ranked featherweight contender.
Mhm.
Arnold Allen, that is. Why is it so hard to say Arnold Allen? See, there, I got it. He's won 9 fights in a row now.
Mhm.
Sadiq Yusuf is the power puncher, I think, of the two.
Yeah.
And Arnold Allen is more well-rounded and I don't know, tough one to predict. Very, very tough one to predict, I think.
And they both only have one loss. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
What do you
And
think about this matchup?
I mean, you summed it up pretty well. You've got power versus a guy who's on a fantastic winning streak and could really see it going either way. So I think it's just who's smarter here, who's more disciplined, and who can implement their game plan. But should be a great fight. And the fight right below that, Kyle Daukaus versus, oh my gosh, I did not look at his name beforehand.
Aliashkab Kisriev.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yes.
Kisriev is 13-0 and Kyle Daukaus is 10-1. Yeah. And Kyle Daukaus recently took out the boa constrictor. What's the boa constrictor's name?
Yeah. The Russian guy.
The Russian guy. The
The
87-year-old Russian.
Ugh.
I'm blanking. It's fine. Anyway, Kyle Daukaus.
He took him out.
He took him out.
He took someone out.
Yeah. Wait, did he though? Am I thinking of the wrong guy? No, it was Kyle Daukaus, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No.
Okay,
No,
never
no.
mind then. This is the wrong weight class. My bad.
Yes, it wasn't the boa constrictor.
Why was I thinking this was heavyweight? This is middleweight. I apologize to everyone. This is middleweight. It's Kyle Daukaus versus.
Is it you or me drinking beer here?
I'm going to figure this out though.
Kisriev is going to win, you know. We
Yeah.
can sum that up.
Fair enough.
Gonna win
Chris
that one.
Daukaus. I wasn't crazy. Chris Daukaus beat Alexei Olenek, the boa constrictor. I got Chris and Kyle mixed up. So
Yes.
not that bad.
Kyle Daukaus, though.
Kyle Daukaus.
He's not as good.
Yeah, not as good as Chris Daukaus, you think?
Nah.
Not as big.
Nah, but and this weight class is tougher also. But
Yeah.
Kisriev is gonna win that one. Bet on it, folks. This is turning into one of these betting podcasts.
Yeah, it is.
We have to stop this.
Okay. Yeah. We don't want to, encourage bad habits. But
Beer and betting.
yeah.
Great. Have some more beer. Make some parlays.
This is fascinating though. Kisriev is 5'8". Kyle Daukaus is 6'2". So huge height difference.
Mm-hmm.
But not much of a reach difference. So
he has a wide back, I think. Kisriev.
Yeah, Kisriev is like a little gorilla, probably
bulldog
looking guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you have you're on the main card.
Yeah, still on the main card.
Still on the main card.
Yeah.
Then you have Smiling Sam Alvey versus the Nopus nickname of the night.
Yep.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that later.
Okay. Well, this is Sam Alvey's 532nd fight. That's right.
Yes, and it's a do or die, I think. Can it be?
Uh, very likely. I mean, he's old. Like I said, 537 fights.
He tends to lose.
Yes, but again, I think that's because he's in the latter stages of his career.
Yeah, he's great though. We love Sam Alvey.
Yeah, he's a great fighter and very technical. Like you can learn a lot from watching him fight. I think he's just like
very,
he's not
very tough. Very tough.
He's not quite as quick and athletic as some of these younger guys, and you see that in his fights. But he's a great fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So you think Julian Marquez wins this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Next one, Nina Ansaroff versus Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because Mackenzie Dern is kind of the, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion and had a lot of hype.
Nina Ansaroff is the wife of Amanda Nunes.
Correct. Yeah, so there's a lot going on there. Mackenzie Dern got a lot of hype coming in the UFC, did lose one fight early, and had some problems with her weight early on, but seems to have corrected those things and has worked a lot in her striking, is much more of a well-rounded fighter now. And Nina Ansaroff, as you said, the wife of Amanda Nunes, so she's training with the best of the best, and has had a pretty good record up until she took a couple years off there, had a kid. Both these fighters are actually moms, so I don't know. There's a lot to look at there where you could favor either one of these fighters in this fight, I think. I think the biggest thing...
There's a lot at stake also for Mackenzie Dern, since she's ranked number 11 and Nina Ansaroff is ranked number 5.
Oh, so yeah, that's true.
For Nina Ansaroff to take this fight, big mistake.
You think?
I think so. I think Mackenzie Dern wins this one by sub.
I think if Ansaroff is to lose this fight, it's not going to take her down much in the rankings, though, because people know how good Mackenzie Dern is. And it's a matter of experience. Like the fact that she isn't higher in the rankings already is a matter of experience. So I think it's not a big... If Ansaroff does lose this fight, it's not a big loss for her. Even though there's a big gap in the rankings, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's like Dominic Cruz potentially fighting Sean O'Malley. I mean, granted, like when you're the higher ranked, more experienced fighter, you never want to lose. But if you're fighting a Mackenzie Dern, a Sean O'Malley, somebody who's considered like the best young contender, and you lose to them, not the worst loss in the world, I think.
No, but a lot to win for Dern.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the main thing, the reason why I would say she's the favorite, even though it's kind of gone back and forth, she was, I think, the initial betting favorite, and now I think she's not. Maybe I'm getting that backwards, but anyway, it's a close matchup, and I think Dern being younger and been more active lately kind of gives her a little bit of an edge here. And
the activity.
And I don't want to put too much stock, like, even though I'm sure Ansaroff, having Amanda Nunes for a partner, and I would assume training partner is probably helpful. It's like, Antonina Shevchenko is not Valentina Shevchenko, so it's easy to, like, when two people are so closely associated, related, or partners or trained together, it's easy to think that one person is sometimes better than they are. So, which is not saying Nina Ansaroff isn't a great fighter in her own right, but I agree. I think Mackenzie Dern has probably got the edge in this one.
And then off to the best fight of the night, maybe.
Yeah, this is the most exciting fight of the night, because you've got Dino Rodriguez, D-Rod, who trains with Donald Cowboy Cerrone, against Mike Perry. And so both kind of have this bad boy edge to them. And Mike Perry and Cowboy have had a little beef. So now you got that continuing against D-Rod. And these guys are very similar styles in fights, I think. They're very aggressive. They just want to go in there and throw down. Who do you think has the edge here?
It's a tough one. Again, sorry. Mike Perry is coming off a decision loss over Tim Means back at UFC 255. it's hard to ignore that Perry has only gotten slower and less dangerous, I think, over
Right.
time. So he will look to, I mean, try to bounce back with this one, but I don't know. He's not looked very good lately,
Yeah.
I think. So I
Perry
don't know.
is.
It's hard, very very hard to know what kind of, I mean, how they will come out looking in this one, because
Mhm.
Mike Perry can look great sometimes, and sometimes he's just not there.
Yeah.
So maybe it depends if his girlfriend is in his corner or not for this one.
This is true. We're always interested to see who's going to corner Mike Perry. I mean, Darren Till's injured. I don't know why Darren Till wouldn't be cornering Mike Perry, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Seems like the most logical thing. He was supposed to be on this card, so he might as well be in
Mm.
Mike Perry's corner. I mean, he probably already had plane tickets booked, like, get there. But
He doesn't look that focused anymore. Maybe focus is the word
yeah,
for.
he's had a lot of chaos, both personally and professionally.
Mhm.
Videos of him kind of doing a Conor McGregor, getting in altercations with old people, and just getting in trouble in general. So he definitely doesn't seem, like you said, focused. And if you look at his record, it's interesting. He tends to beat the guys that he's supposed to beat. And he has some good wins. I mean, he beat in 2019, he beat Cowboy Alex Oliveira.
Mm. I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah. Um, but then that same year, he also lost to Vincent Luque, lost to Jeff Neal. And yeah, last year he split fights. He lost to Tim Means, but he beat Mickey Gall. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm going with D-Rod on this one
Yeah, me too.
because yeah, Mike Perry
Of
just
course.
looked a little too chaotic. We'll see if he can win this one though. If he looks good, if he looks focused, if he's staying out of trouble, then yeah, maybe he's back. Who knows? I mean, certainly,
It's an exciting fight.
yeah,
Anyway.
we enjoy seeing Mike Perry in the UFC. He's
Yeah.
always entertaining.
Yeah, we do. Have you found something interesting on the prelims? Sorry.
Uh, there's some names on the prelims that are usually pretty interesting. Uh, John McDessie's a fun fighter. He's a great striker. Jorgen De Castro, I remember because he fought Greg Hardy, and in the first round, he was just teeing off on Hardy with leg kicks, looked really good with his striking, and then the second two rounds, he just didn't throw anything. It was like something happened between rounds, and he just quit fighting. And he's fighting a guy who they both have had not great UFC records. Jarvis Danho, he's lost one and had one draw in the UFC. And I believe Jorgen De Castro is favored here. But that to me is kind of a toss up because neither of these guys have looked very good lately. But they're both big power strikers, big heavyweights. So, could still be fun. Could see a fun knockout or something.
Yeah. The sleeper fight of the night, I think, is, how do you pronounce this? Hunter Azure
Uh-huh.
versus Jack Shore.
Okay.
I think this will be fight of the night. I think Hunter Asher and Jack Shore. Asher has one professional loss, I think. Came to
Mm-hmm.
Brian Kelleher, which, I mean, he's a great striker, Brian
Yeah.
Kelleher, and very tough. Shore is an undefeated Welsh standout who has needed the judges' scorecards only once in his 13 wins. So I think this one is going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
Watch out for this one, folks. And then you
Very.
have Impa Kasanganay returning from that very, very, very scary knockout. Remember? Can you describe it, please? Because my English is not good enough.
Um,
Describe what happened. Most folks know this one.
that was the knockout of the year last year
Hmm.
against Buckley, Joaquin Buckley.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. What I can't remember is which way. So basically, what happened was Buckley threw a kick. Kasanga and I caught the kick, and somehow this is so hard to describe.
Spin. He's spun around. Spinned or spun.
spun. So
It's
after
spun
Kasanga and I
around.
caught,
Yeah.
Kasanga and I caught Buckley's kick. So now Buckley's standing on one leg. Somehow Buckley jumped off one leg and launched himself high enough that he was able to spin and kick Kasanga and I in the head with his other leg while Kasanga and I was holding his leg, which when you say it out loud sounds impossible. You just have to look it up and watch it if you haven't seen it, but I can't imagine you not seeing it because it was the most played highlight in mixed martial arts last year, I believe, and one of the greatest knockouts of all time. But yeah, to this day, I mean, I think it's one of those situations where he maybe not. If Kasanga and I was like really holding his leg tightly, then Buckley could have kind of like pushed off of him or like used leverage from him holding his leg to help him with the jump and the spin of the kick, theoretically. But he also said he used to practice it on the bag at the gym. So in that case, there's nobody like holding his leg either. So I don't know. But it's just insane. It's like kind of physics defying. So
Yeah. And the guy fighting now is the guy who got knocked out from that kick.
Kasanga and I.
Yes. So he will be looking to bounce back from that one for sure, because that was fierce.
Yeah, that was nasty.
I don't know. Do you have a lock of the night? Since you're down 8-4. just saying.
Still a win streak though. Still a win streak. Lock of the night. Can
you get that though? That I have 8 straight.
Yeah.
How great is that?
It's really good.
I only lost once, and I still remember. I still remember what it was. It was Molly Meatball McCann.
Oh, that's right. You bet on the meatballs.
Molly. You ruined it for me.
You could have been the John Jones.
Oh, I know. So do you have one?
This is a tough one. I think there's a few.
I'll have a sip of beer.
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
Can think about it.
I feel kind of like a dick saying this, but
yeah, go ahead. Be the dick.
I might have to say that Julian Marquez is my lock of the night.
Shitting on Smiling Sam, are we?
It's just because it's kind of what you said when we were talking about this matchup. Just Sam Alvey being past his prime. I think he's at this point in his career where he's going to have a tough time beating young guys like Julian Marquez, and that's really what it comes down to. So,
all right, you always pick from the main card. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I do.
You do.
You want me to change it?
Oh. No. Go with the easy ones.
Okay.
It's your game. So I'm picking Joe Solecki for my lock of the night.
Okay.
Against Jim Miller. And now you're gonna ask why? Why would you do that?
I think it's the same reason that I just picked against Sam Alvey. I think you think Jim's too old. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Solecki has won his last 5. Very, very well-rounded, talented guy, and only 27 years old. So there.
That was sneaky. You basically you basically had the exact same logic as me, and you just picked somebody on the prelims so you could make fun of me for never picking on the prelims.
So, sometimes I pick one from the early prelims, even.
That's true.
It's like higher status pick.
I don't know if I've done that on our podcast, but certainly when guys like Mosfar Ivloev and guys like that have been on the early prelims, totally pick those guys.
Yes. Go wild next week. Pick someone from the early prelims.
I'll work on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nopa's nickname of the night is actually the Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez.
Why is that Nope?
What is that even? The Cuban Missile Crisis. Missile. I know what a missile is. How do you pronounce it? Missile?
Missile.
Missile.
Yeah.
Like a mistletoe?
Yeah, like mistletoe, exactly.
Okay,
except spelled different.
Missile. Can you say it, please?
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes. What is that?
Oh, you don't know what it is?
No, I don't know what it is. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give people a very poor history lesson right now, which is
Take a
that,
deep breath.
yeah. So back when John F. Kennedy was president of the United States in the mid 60s, and it was the Cold War with the Soviet Union and any other communist countries, and we later invaded Vietnam because we're like the domino theory. It's like if Vietnam becomes communist, then every other country in the world will just become communist. In hindsight, it sounds like a really stupid theory, and I think it was
You
kind of a
think?
stupid. Yeah, I think it was a stupid theory, quite honestly. But that was the logic at the time, and I think people were freaked out because for a while the only two nuclear armed countries were the USSR and the United States, and so that's what a lot of that was about, which is nuclear power was at the base of a lot of it. So anyway, the Cuban Missile Crisis was that Cuba was the closest communist country to the United States, and since the Russians tended to in the USSR ally with these other communist countries and fund them and send them weapons and things, the thought was that the Russians were going to put a bunch of missiles, potentially some nukes, in Cuba so they could very easily launch a first strike on the U.S. And that's about as far as my history lesson goes. There was an actual event called the Cuban Missile Crisis where something was going down and JFK and the US freaked out and were like, oh shit, they've got missiles or they're going to launch some missiles or something. And we got to do
Very
something.
confusing.
Yeah, we did something and we fucked it up and nothing actually happened. But there were like multiple times. There was another one called the Bay of Pigs where, and I'm going to look at this up so I actually know what I'm talking about next
Yeah,
time.
but the big question is though,
Yeah.
what in the world has this got to do with Julian Marquez?
I have no idea. We should get him on the show and ask him, where the hell did you get this nickname? Do you feel like, though, like Anthony Smith said, this has got to be a nickname that somebody gave to him? Like, you wouldn't name yourself the Cuban Missile Crisis, would you?
What does it mean when you call someone the Cuban Missile Crisis? Does it mean that you're a fuck up? Or what?
Kind of. It kind of sounds like it.
This is like a language barrier, but I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Tell you what, I'm going to read you real quick because I feel like we've got some time here. From the JFKlibrary.org, Cuban Missile Crisis. For 13 days in October 1962, the world waited, seemingly on the brink of nuclear war, and hoped for a peaceful resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis. In October 1962, an American spy plane secretly photographed nuclear missile sites being built by the Soviet Union on the island of Cuba. President Kennedy did not want the Soviet Union and Cuba to know that he discovered the missiles. He met in secret with his advisors for several days to discuss the problem. After many long and difficult meetings, Kennedy decided to place a naval blockade or ring of ships around Cuba. The aim of this quarantine, as he called it, was to prevent the Soviets from bringing in more military supplies. He demanded the removal of the missiles already there and the destruction of the sites. He gave a public address on television, and no one was sure how long it would take for the Soviets to respond to their demands. Let's see, skip to the end. What happens?
Skip.
I think the conclusion of the story, they made a deal. Okay, so they made a deal and the Soviets removed their missiles from Cuba. And in that deal, I guess the US had missiles in Turkey and we removed our missiles from Turkey. So what it ended up being was like both countries now had missiles in striking range of the other country, US and Turkey. Russia had theirs in Cuba. And so the world was like, oh shit, now they can actually nuke each other really easily. And so they took some action, ended up negotiating, and then they took their missiles away. So it ended up being a good thing in a case of de-escalation.
So in conclusion, we have to get Julian Marquez to come on the show and explain this. Because
we do.
Now we know what the Cuban Missile Crisis is.
Yes.
But still very confusing why it's his fighter nickname, right?
I don't know. Maybe his dad was Cuban. Maybe he like installed some missiles. I don't know.
Why did I bring this up? Why? Oh, why?
Because it's the Nopist. I don't know. I think it's a hilarious nickname, though. It's just funny that we have no idea what it means.
Yes.
By the way,
when you took that deep breath, Do you know what that reminded me of?
What?
I don't know. Maybe this is some kind of a diagnosis that I have. Do
Hmm.
you remember that first Ace Ventura movie
Uh-huh.
when he knocks on the door to go snoop around in that what's his name? And his dad opens through this little thing, and then he says, "Do you remember?"
Not
God,
sure I remember that part.
I,
Who, who
oh God,
whose place
I'm
is he
blown
at?
away.
The
He
kicker?
says, "What do you know about Ray Finkel?" And then he's like,
Oh yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah.
"Ray Finkel, remember?" He stands there with a shotgun pointing at
Mhm.
him, and then he says, "What do you know about Ray Finkel?" And he does that thing that you did, and then he's like, "Yeah, I
Finkel
can't
is
imitate that, but
Finkel
I'll
is
learn
Einhorn.
until next
Einhorn is
episode."
Finkel.
Yes, Finkel and Einhorn, Einhorn and Finkel.
Yeah.
I don't know
Einhorn
why I
is a
keep bringing
man.
these what's his face? The guy who plays Ace Ventura.
Jim Carrey.
And yeah,
Yeah.
these Jim Carrey movies. They keep coming back every
Mhm.
episode. Maybe it's my thing. I found my calling.
I mean, comedy movies definitely seem to be your favorite.
No, but only comedies from like the 90s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Borat.
Yeah.
Borat and 90s movies. Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber. So we're
Mhm.
doing the Bra eller Anus now.
Okay.
Do you have any do you have any Bra eller Anuses for me?
Well, probably, but I'm also still Googling why he's called the Cuban Missile Crisis. I think I found an answer.
Try Google his phone number instead and we'll ask him.
I mean, that would be better, but I think sportskita.com. What is that? Is that Swedish? What is skita? That sounds like a word that means
Sports.
something.
No.
Skeeda. Not Swedish?
No.
Okay. It says Julian Marquez is nicknamed the Cuban Missile Crisis because of his family's background. Julian Marquez's father migrated to the United States from Cuba, and the middleweight credits his Cuban heritage for his discipline and focus. That's a stupid.
So
No.
he could actually might as well call himself the Cuban cigar.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why.
just as long as it's related to Cuba.
Exactly.
Okay.
Cuban anything.
Or the Cuban.
Yeah, the Cuban.
Okay, then I'll start with the Braleranus.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready,
I'm ready.
Mr. Lindemann?
So prepared.
Braleranus, the new Venom clothing.
Bra.
Bra.
Yeah.
Bra. Very bra or just bra? Why am I saying it with a American R? Bra.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. This bra. I don't know.
It's bra. Okay. All right.
Bra.
I'll accept it. Braleranus. No, actually, this is not a Braleranus. It's just
Okay.
a question.
Okay.
Is Mike Perry having his girlfriend in his corner this weekend? Ja eller nej?
Yeah.
Ja.
I hope so. I don't know.
You hope?
I feel like that information should be on the internet. Like, wouldn't somebody be? Seems like every journalist would be asking him that.
I hope if he does, though, that is only her, like
Yeah.
last time.
Exactly. Yeah, and she tells him to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Great advice. Actually.
Who is
That's what I
cornering
would've
Mike
said.
Perry?
You're just going crazy with Googling today.
Yeah, never mind. The internet doesn't know. It doesn't matter.
So no bra eller anuses for me.
I
Uh,
probably do. I've really been winging it lately. It's bad.
coming here all unprepared.
Yeah, basically.
Hmm.
Let's move on.
Swedes, we're very we like to do things by the book.
By the book.
Yes, you're coming in late every time. Last week was 40 minutes, I think. Today was 15.
Mhm.
Looking at my clock here, sitting like, yep, I was here,
Yep.
7:30. Ah, all right then, all right. I'll forgive you. News. Miranda Maverick booked against Macy Barber, July 24th. How about that?
July 24th.
Yes,
That's a long way out.
it is. But it just came out today, so I had to bring it up.
Mhm.
I couldn't help myself. What do you think? Barber, 8-2 in her career, and Maverick, 9-2.
It's a good matchup. I mean, they're
Mhm.
both some of the best up and coming fighters right now, and Barber's got the bigger name, but I think it's kind of an ideal matchup for both of them. They're both super talented and young. So,
Barber coming off 2 straight unanimous decision losses, and
mhm.
Maverick coming off 2 wins.
Oh, this just in. The Kyle Daukaus and
Alyashka Kisriev.
exactly that guy. Their fight just got pulled. Apparently, somebody failed the COVID-19 protocols. So
Okay.
that's a
All right.
bummer. Sorry.
No. Just, I was just waiting to hear your thoughts on Maverick versus Barber here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any specific thoughts other than that's a great matchup.
Who are you rooting for?
Probably Maverick. I still just haven't quite got on the Macy Barber train. It's it's one of those where I got kind of annoyed with her being a little overhyped.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
Yeah.
And how she handled that loss against
Right.
help me out, the non-athletic, very weird. Man, we've talked about it for how many times?
Mhm.
Harry, old buddy, old pal.
I don't remember. Shoot.
You do remember.
I do remember. It's
You do.
Roxanne Modafferi.
Roxanne. Yes.
Modafferi. Roxanne
How
Modafferi.
she handled that loss
Yeah, Roxanne
did not
Modafferi.
tickle my pickle.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
It was very disappointing. So, do you have any news? Because I have a big one coming up.
I have a brawler honest for you.
Oh, all right. Shoot.
Francis Ngannou defends his title against Derek Lewis. Brawler honest.
Honest.
Okay.
Goats honest.
You want John Jones. That's all you want.
Yes, of course. I want Dana White to give him $50 million. Throw him in there.
50 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that we talked about quite a bit off air, which is like, how much does John Jones deserve and how much could the UFC actually afford to pay him?
We talked about it on air, actually.
Okay. We talked about it on air too, but I don't know. I did a lot of reading and sent you a lot of links off air too. And I think what's clear to me is that the UFC could afford to pay him a lot more than they are. And, if you just think about like how much he's made for the company, he should get paid a lot more.
Yeah.
So, but based on what the UFC tends to pay their fighters, like I was doing some hypotheticals on, when you think about like Conor McGregor, like John Jones pulls in more than most UFC headliners as far as pay-per-view numbers, but he still does, like Conor McGregor still does probably twice as many pay-per-views as any other UFC fighter.
Yeah, it's because of us Europeans,
It's
our fault.
Right, actually, because you don't normally have to pay for the pay-per-views, but you have to pay for the Conor one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super weird. Yeah, I don't know how that.
But you know what?
Works.
I think John Jones will be. He'll be a much bigger draw. Do you call it a draw?
Yeah.
Now, when he goes up to heavyweight, that's what I think.
I completely agree. I think one of the things that I mentioned in our offline conversation was that he was a much bigger draw actually at the beginning of his career when he was taking out former champions like Rampage Jackson, Rashad Evans, Shogun Rua. When he was fighting those guys, he was a bigger draw. And then in the second half of his career, second half of his title defenses, he hasn't been as big of a draw when he was fighting guys like Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. One reason might be that he had all that time off where he kept getting in trouble, and that maybe soured some fans. And then he was fighting guys who just didn't have as big of names. I mean, he was fighting great fighters, but Dominic Smith, Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, they just don't have the same name. They weren't former champions. They weren't, these old veterans who had a great legacy in the sport yet. So it just wasn't as exciting. And so I think moving up to heavyweight now, you've just got heavyweight is always, I think if everything else is equal, heavyweight's always the biggest draw because there's always that opportunity for a scary knockout at heavyweight. So I think you put John Jones in that, where it seems like he's in a lot of danger again, the way he was back when he was fighting Shogun, when he was fighting Rampage and Rashad Evans. People are going to get more excited. And I think you could see him breaking even his old pay-per-view records of like 900,000 buys or whatever it was against Daniel Cormier when there was like really bad blood, and Cormier is one of the greatest of all time. And so I think he even breaks those records if he goes and fights Francis Ngannou. So
yeah, I agree. So pay the man.
Yeah, 50 million.
Once again, 50 million. What does it matter?
Yeah, who cares?
Pocket money.
It's just money.
It's just pocket money. So we'll end this episode with the biggest news of this week.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you've read it since you've been asleep.
Okay.
We got mail from a listener.
Oh, really?
Which I'm going to read now.
Mm-hmm.
So here goes. Hey, you should have Robin Pretty Boy Roos from Sweden on your podcast. He's a really great fighter with kicks from hell and a really great guy. UFC should definitely check him out. He's only meeting really tough guys when he fights. His thoughts are really different from others. Would love to listen to him on your pod. Love the podcast. Bye-bye. With
peace
a
sign.
Peace sign.
Awesome.
Yes. So, Robin Roos, ifall du lyssnar, så kan ju du bara skriva en liten rad och sen är du helt välkommen på podden. Whenever, wherever. Vi anpassar oss. Gotta keep the fans happy.
Absolutely. I would love that. That would be a fantastic. Yes. And we need to get more fighters on here. We've got the full Anthony Smith interview coming out later this month during his fight week before UFC 261. We're got a new logo that people are going to see later this week. And so everything is
How great is that logo, though?
It's really cool. We're excited about it. Yeah. It's
so stoked.
Everything's great here in the heavy leather world. So
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And we got fan mail.
Yep.
How great is that?
It's fantastic. Yeah. Every time we hear from a listener, I'm like, which one of our 10 listeners are you?
Stop it. Stop it. And I actually think this is Swedish. This is a Swedish guy. I can tell from the way he's writing.
Yeah. Well, the bulk of our listeners right now are Swedish, and that is reflected in the logo as well, which I think is really fun. And I think it's, yeah.
Så Robin Roos, nu får du liksom ställa upp här för de svenska lyssnarna.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll hit him up.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Whatever you said, I agree.
Yeah. Great,
and
great.
We'll get him on here. We'll get Julian Marquez to come on and give a better explanation of his nickname, because the online one is unacceptable.
We would love it. So follow us on Instagram, Heavy Leather MMA. Love us, adore us.
Yes, and we actually bend the knee. We also have a YouTube channel, and so there you'll see a little more video content and more as we go along here too, because the Anthony Smith stuff will be on there.
Maybe you'll get to see my great Askren t-shirt.
Yes, you can check that out as well.
Yes.
Check out Bruce Lee's abs behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Will always be behind me from now on.
Gravy. Talk to you next week.
See ya.